interject and give it back to you. From my understanding, I spoke to 2 teams this morning. They said when an incident comes down, you can make the call and try to find out what happened. Their understanding is that the second the league gets involved, the teams are not allowed to be involved anymore. And the league is officially in the mix and taking over. So they're not allowed to delve any further.
Let me get involved here for 1 second, because I was at work yesterday, and obviously Adam Schefter was there, and he was getting all the information on this. What I want to make clear, so obviously the NFL did not obtain the tape, and like you, I find it hard to believe TMZ can and the NFL cannot. Also, when the NFL, as they discussed, and I'll read their statement in just a minute.
Well, let me say something before Molly Kareem continues. It's amazing to me that she's the moderator. This is supposed to be Stephen A. Smith's show, but she can cut him off. But we know why that is. As I always tell you, brothers, if she wanted to, she could make an accusation on him and get him fired. Beyond that, the main reason, and it's very obvious to me, how and why TMZ was able to get the tape and the NFL wasn't, it was because TMZ was the highest bidder. And more likely than not, they've been trying to get their hands on that tape. And I'm sure many other tapes that we're not privy to or haven't seen yet, because the stories have not quite broken yet, or TMZ, they have not dotted their I's and crossed their T's on these various stories yet. But they're able to get these tapes because they're willing to pay the most. The NFL is probably not willing to pay for tapes that they're not sure is going to have the information or the proof or the data that they're looking for or that they need. TMZ don't give a shit, because that's their job. That's their business. Their business is to dig up dirt on athletes or entertainers, celebrities, etc.
Started their investigation. They never spoke with Kareem or the woman.
Makes no sense.
They did an investigation, and I want to repeat this. They never spoke with Kareem Hunt or the woman.
Because they probably spoke with the Cleveland Police Department, and the Cleveland Police Department told them nothing to see here. Then they tried to call up the hotel and get the tape, and whoever they spoke to, the asking price was too high. So the NFL said, bump this. It is what it is.
How is that possible?
I just explained it.
No.
How can you get to the bottom of what happened?
But Molly, that's what I mean. The league, at least here, gives the impression that they will start to turn over every stone when it's in their best interest to. It's not based on a real moral guideline. But when you hear that there is a video and you don't do everything in your power to obtain it, not only is it short-sighted because it may come to light and there may be bad stuff on the video, now you're in trouble, but it also indicates that what you're really motivated by is your bottom line and not doing the right thing. And if that's...
Well, Max Kellerman, we all know that the NFL is a business. They're a multi-billion-dollar business. And no, they're not going to get into the habit of following around all their players, hoping to catch them in things. It's an entertainment professional sports league. It's in their best interest for their best players to be on the football field. It's the job of the local police departments to make sure that they catch these athletes in the act of whatever it is that they're accused of. The NFL is not the judicial system. We have to understand all these things.
That sounds naive. Well, of course, this is what corporations do. It's what businesses are. Even if you look at it that way, look what just happened to the NFL when they didn't take this seriously.
I've been aching.
Well, what exactly happened to the NFL when they, quote-unquote, did not take this seriously enough, Max Kellerman? Nothing at all. There was no drop in ratings. There was no loss in revenue or viewership. What hurt the NFL was that Kaepernick shit for the last year and change. That's what hurt them. The Kareem Hunt situation, the Ray Rice situation, the Greg Hardy situation has never ever hurt the NFL, other than in the eyes of super liberal sports networks like yours, who've been trying to attack them to get them to put women on a pedestal.
Aching to make this other point, and this is to so many the cats out there, the athletes out there. There's 2 storylines that I actually heard this weekend.
Okay.
One, and again, no justification. Please trust me.
About this situation?
About this situation.
Okay.
I'm getting to it. First one was, well, you know what? He was upset that she wouldn't get what one of his boys. First of all, I ain't never seen a man alive that's upset at what another man ain't getting.
Well, it depends, Stephen A. Smith. Some of these dudes are into orgies. Some of them are into many of the bacchanalian rights, what they call running trains. And they get offended when the woman is not going to hit off their boy. because the first thing they want to do is follow behind a boy into this woman's vagina for whatever reason. I've always thought that trains and orgies is about a half step away from homosexuality. You're on the progression there. But that's not strange to me at all, that he would get upset by that, especially if you combine the alcohol and the weed that I believe that he was probably on, allegedly.
As it pertains to that. That's number one. Now,
no, hold up. So if they brought...
Here she goes, shutting down Stephen A. Smith again, Molly Kareem.
They brought her back hoping that would happen, and then it's like, hey, you're not going to perform those acts, you're gone?
No, what I'm saying
that doesn't shock me.
It doesn't shock me either, but you should not be cutting off Stephen A. Smith. I'm sure that you'll have your time to speak. You can tell how she treats Jalen Rose if she conducts herself like this on television at her job.
What I'm saying to you is I've never heard of a man being upset about what another man is not getting in that regard.
It depends, Stephen A. Smith. Once again, if they're dealing in those orgiastic rights, you never know. A lot of these professional athletes, they are dealing with those bacchanalian rituals, what they call running trains or orgies or what have you.
That's what I'm saying. The other point was, or she said the N-word. That's the first time you heard it as a black man?
Well, let me say this, Stephen A. Smith, and I partially agree with you. But, brothers, we have to understand something, especially in this day and time. And once again, this is in association with or correlated with the sentiment that I put forth at the beginning of the video. Many of these women believe that because they're constantly hearing that there's never a reason to hit a woman, that they can come out of their mouth any type of way. So mentally, you have to be prepped for that. That's why you should take your time to get to know the woman, because the woman is going to try to hold back her demons as long as she can until she cannot hold them any longer. And then they're going to try to spaz out and curse and carry on and talk about your mother, talk about your, if you got kids, they'll talk about your kids, your sister, your father, all that. Most of these females, they just hold back those demons as long and as hard as they can. I did a review video, the first review video that I did for the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury fight. It was a female in the comments who jumped into a thread where I responded to one of the brothers who was commenting on the fight, and she said, what you need to be talking about is how Tyson Fury got a long count and all that. And I responded to her, I said, what you need to be worried about is making sure that dinner is prepared for your man. Why would you think that I want to go back and forth with you in matters pertaining to boxing or any matter whatsoever? That's your man's job. And she come back, oh, I thought you were the righteous brother. F your mother, F this, F that, F this. But I already understood that that's what her response was going to be, because that's the liberal woman. You understand that? That's why I tell you brothers all the time, these women have layers and they wear masks because they're embarrassed about who they really are. But it does not take much to get to who they really are. And once you grasp that, that will allow you to avoid a lot of very bad situations. So many brothers end up in these terrible situations associated with these women, and they're so shocked by it, they're so dismayed by it, that they end up spazzing out and killing the woman. That's why I say you have to be responsible for yourself and the woman, because the woman is a two-dimensional thinker. She thinks that she can say whatever she wants to anybody, and then she runs into the wrong dude, some dude who just is not all there psychologically, and those end up being the last moments of her life. And hopefully none of you brothers will end up in situations like that where you'll be tempted to do something like that to the woman, because it's not worth it. It's really not. It's not even worth putting your hands on the woman unless, God forbid, she's attacking you in some way. It's just not. But as Stephen A. Smith is alluding to, for him to be that upset over being called a nigga or whatever, that's okay. I'm the nigga whose dick you was ready to suck. And I could probably hit you up next week and you'll still be ready to suck on this dick. That's the nigga I am. So you should not be concerned with the woman trying to spaz out. That's just a reflection of her demonic eruption. The woman intermediately will have demonic eruptions. And when I say the woman, I'm not talking about all women. I'm not talking about all of them. But the vast majority of them are under demonic possession. It is what it is. And when you understand that, it stops you from being so shocked by that eruption that you snap and want to hurt the woman.
You got to be kidding me. See, we got to stop using this as an excuse, okay? Even if as wrong as she may have been if she did that, that is no justification for you to put your hands on her or jeopardize your own career.
I agree.
Because you want to exact violence against somebody because they said a word that hurt your feelings. There's no excuse either way.
You're right, of course.
Let me say this, though. For the people who think that they're going to walk around just talking to people however they want, there are spirits of death and vengeance that the Most High has out here. There are people who don't give a shit. So you can walk around in your life thinking that you could say whatever you want to say to a person, however you want to say it. You're going to run into the wrong person one day. And that's particularly for a lot of these liberal women who believe that they could just run off at the mouth with whoever, however.
But I want you to notice, he didn't use that as an excuse. And this is what I mean. In other words,
on camera.
He also didn't
I agree with you, Stephen A. Smith. He said on camera.
Explain what happened.
That's right.
And he refused to explain what happened. Lisa Salters repeatedly asked him, so what happened?
She did.
How did we get here? Nobody discussed their alcohol.
So you idiot Molly Kareem, why would he get on television and go over what occurred when he might be liable for a lawsuit or a civil suit? You stupid idiot.
Or drugs involved. No, any of the situation we just talked about, hooking up with her boy, the N-word, none of it. He wouldn't get into any of it.
Why would he do that when there's a possible legal situation? Molly Kareem is an example of another modern-day liberal female who thinks of herself as being intelligent, and all she is another two-dimensional thinker playing a role.
Maybe that's partly because if he said,
and I don't give a damn if you're mad about what I just said about her.
If he says anything, it's taken as an excuse.
No,
he's trying to rationalize.
It's because he doesn't want to say what really happened.
I said we don't know.
The point is that if the players are getting the message, or this player at least, take responsibility, don't cry victim, don't, like say that you're somehow victimized by circumstances, don't make excuses. The league still hasn't gotten the message that doing due diligence isn't checking off some boxes so later you can point, hey, we tried. It's actually finding out.
Well, I have no.
Well, Max Kellerman, I have news for you, man. You have no idea how many accusations come across those NFL desks every day. I promise you that if you were ever hired by the NFL offices, they probably get 15 to 20 false accusations a day from females claiming that one of their players hit them or raped them or what have you.
I have no disagreement with your point.
And they cannot allocate funds for every accusation.
Your point. My point is, though, what the hell are you doing lying to the Kansas City Chiefs?
I agree with that.
Why are you lying about it? Any hope that you had?
Stephen A. Forget him. He's a kid. He's trying to cover himself. The NFL, they're trying to tell us as women.
No, Molly Kareem. And once again, Molly Kareem, as usual, being a modern-day super liberal woman, is trying to make it all about herself. She said, forget him. He's a kid. No. Actually, he's the person that we cannot forget. Once again, so-called black men, you see how they don't give a shit about you? And how they want to make everything about them? This is really about Kareem Hunt. And by extension, it's about us. And it's about a lot of these young cats who are growing up right now who don't understand what's going on around them. And that's all it's about. It's not about the woman. The woman has all type of factions and sponsors that are out there to tell them that any and everything that they do is okay. So no, it's not about the woman. We know the police force is on their side. The court system is on their side. So all that's bullshit. Molly Kareem wants the NFL to be on her side. She really wants the NFL to be all about the woman. That's why I state that when it comes to these super liberal females, you have to utilize the Aikido approach. Meaning don't fight their energy with energy. You have to let them use their own energy to destroy themselves. If for one day the NFL allowed itself to be ran by the dictates of a woman, their corporation would collapse in one day.
Women that they care about domestic violence and assault, and they won't even speak to the parties involved.
Well,
Come on, you know how that feels?
Well, again,
who cares how it feels to you? You're not relevant. The only people who are relevant are Kareem Hunt and the female involved. Who gives a shit about how you feel?
and we've already acknowledged that the NFL is wrong, and if we're going to sit up here and talk about how the NFL is wrong, we don't have a show, because how many times have we brought up?
Even if they don't care, just for optics sake.
How many?
Here we go. There goes that buzzword. Now, brothers, did I not use that term optics? That's a buzzword that's used by the super liberal media, where they want you to conform to how they think things look, or how you're supposed to believe things look. It's not about how things are, it's about how they look.
Many times have we brought up the level of negligence that
Hold on one
the
second.
NFL is
Hold on one second.
Hold on one second.
Hold on one
It keeps
second.
happening and happening and happening. How?
What's interesting to me,
It keeps happening and happening and happening. The NFL has over 1,600 players. Once every 2 years, you hear a story about one guy who beat up some silly broad in a hallway.
is Molly, you take this issue personally.
Yes.
As a woman living in
Yeah.
America, living
No, she's taking it personally because she's trying to get attention.
in the world. And what offends you and what really makes you upset, it seems to me,
Here goes psychiatrist Max Kellerman.
is the fact that the league in charge is
Yes.
not actually doing their due
They're
diligence.
grown adults.
No, actually, the league is doing their due diligence, Max Kellerman. It's just that they don't have the funds to allocate to sniff out whether all of these accusations that come across their desk every day are false or true. That's just the bottom line of it.
I'm not excusing him, but he's a kid.
I disagree.
Thank you, Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith understands that a lot of these other factions, they want to keep making excuses for the so-called black man because they want to prep him for the prison system. Okay? She's not saying he's a kid because she cares about him or because she loves him. She's saying that because she wants to prep him subconsciously. She wants to wait until he does something serious enough where he can do big time, not little time. So if you care about Kareem Hunt, that's who we have to focus on. Molly Karen wants to focus on the quote-unquote woman aspect.
He's 23, 24 years old. Let me tell you something, and with everything that has happened over the last few years in the National Football League, even before he got into the league,
excusing him, I expect more from grown adults than I do a 23-year-old.
Excuse me. The fact of the matter is that nobody's absolving the NFL. What I am saying to you is you are not going to look at me. No one is going to look at me and tell me that the NFL is more responsible than the actual perpetrators. I think that's
Agreed.
That's one of the. I'm not absolving them. No, Kareem Hunt is the one that messed up. The NFL messed up like they always do for business purposes, trying to cover themselves and glow.
That's their job. Their job is to cover themselves. Their job is not to raise these young men. That's why, once again, so-called black man, we have to protect our seed, man.
Gloss over issues or hope that it escapes the public eye so it doesn't affect their bottom line. They do it all the time. We get it. But at the end of the day, you are a young man, a young black man with your future ahead of you.
Agreed.
And because somebody may have spewed a word at you or whatever the reason was, you decide to exact violence against a woman.
I agree with that part, especially when you know that you're in a no-win situation. You're in a hotel hallway, so you know, or at least you should understand, that you're under surveillance and that eventually everything is going to come out. But he's not thinking enough steps forward to grasp that.
No, the NFL, even disgusted as we may be with them from time to time, it does not pale in comparison to the personal responsibility that has to be accorded to Kareem Hunt, who looked Andy Reid in the face, his general manager in the face, his positional coach in the face, and lied to their face. He lied and would have kept lying had the video not came out.
By the way.
And beyond that, Stephen A. Smith, not only would he have kept lying, I believe that eventually he would have gotten into another domestic dispute with another woman because he would not have had this shit nipped in the bud. This is what he needed. Because if he would have gotten away with this, he would have whooped another person's ass. And as I've already stated, this is not the only incident that he's been involved in this year. There have been 3 incidents on record that he's been involved in this year.
By the way, there's no doubt.
That's what happened.
Kareem Hunt is responsible for his behavior. He is the guilty party here. But I think the point, and you...
Here go the super liberal combination again. Max Kellerman, the super liberal woke Jew, and Molly Karam, the black mandingo infatuated super liberal female, trying to take the story off of Kareem Hunt and put it on the NFL so that they can try to act as if they're going to engineer a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Correct me if I'm wrong, is that there will be, you take any large population of people, there are thousands of people in the NFL in any given year, and there will be bad behavior in one form or another. In this case, we're talking about violent behavior. And because these incidents will continue to occur in the world and among individuals in the NFL, the question question really is, how does the league deal with it? Not to absolve anyone of personal responsibility. Kareem Hunt is the villain here. He is the criminal here. It's that systemically, how is the NFL going to deal with this going forward? Are they going to simply have a kind of bureaucratic check all the boxes and show the email?
Max Kellerman, I have news for you, man. The NFL cannot get too ingrained in how their players conduct themselves, because then what's next? How is the NFL going to get involved in how these NFL players are raising their children? Wait a minute, so-and-so from the Los Angeles Rams does not believe that his son should grow up to be a homosexual. What is the NFL going to do about that? The NFL has to get involved in all of this. See, this is a very closet way to push a lot of Marxist principles. Everybody should be involved in everybody's business to the nth degree. At the end of the day, the NFL is a corporation. It's the job of Kareem Hunt's father and mother to make sure that he understands what the possible ramifications of his actions are going to be. It's not the NFL's job. It is the NFL's job to cover their ass and, yes, create policies to protect themselves and instruct their players to the degree that the NFL is not going to have to suffer for their bad actions. That's it.
Email chain response, or are they actually going to internalize the message that not only is this morally a moral issue, it's actually bad also for their bottom line, and actually do their due diligence to go get the evidence.
And they repeatedly get it wrong. And one last detail I want to share. We all spend a lot of times in hotels. We've all stayed at the 9 hotels.
I know that you have, Molly Kareem. I know that you spend a lot of time in hotels.
9 hotels.
There's cameras everywhere.
There's cameras. Come on. We'll leave it there. We'll have much more on this a little bit later in the show.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. Hopefully Kareem Hunt will be able to bounce back from this situation somewhere down the line. But once again, brothers, this is a microcosm of a major issue that does affect the so-called black man in regards to his interactions with women and his understanding of himself. We have to view ourselves as a valuable commodity, and people are either good enough to be involved in our lives or they're not. When you just allow people to hang on or hang around, when you've already established that they have a mental, psychological, emotional, or spiritual issue, you're setting yourself up for disaster. And if you're that person, then you have to get help, hopefully as soon as possible. Hopefully you have parents or friends or someone that you respect to instruct you or lift you up. Or hopefully the Most High shows favor unto you and grace unto you so that, you can remove that demonic spirit that's on you. But anyway,